But just looking at it, if I was a kid, 13, 14, 15, I'm like, this is where I want to be. And having something that you can like, okay, I know this is what I need to work on, instead of like, well, mine was pretty obvious, command. But
Yeah.
and I didn't need to run a 40 and 60 to know that I was slow. But it's for a lot of the players nowadays, and I kind of want to talk about an alum you guys have that I believe who's playing for my Guardians right now in Bo Naylor, but just to see someone go through the program and now is reaping the benefits, just got their first hit, then their home run, multi-hit game, and obviously his future's bright. Not everybody's going to be Bo Naylor, but
Right.
and I don't want to
Right.
jinx him. I try not to believe in jinx, but I'm a baseball player. Uh,
Yeah,
and
for what it is, bro. I'm with you.
yeah, exactly. It's exciting though that the kids have a resource, and I'm jealous, of course. We didn't have resources, but that's what everybody says. Back in the day, we didn't have this. But to see someone like Bo Naylor, who just got called up, who was obviously a part of the Future Stars series and all that stuff, what's that mean to you to be able to make an example? Like, see this player right now, he was able to find out, okay, this is what he had to work on to advance and better himself, and we were a part of that journey.
Yeah, so the thing about Noah, he's special a little bit to me, and I'll share that in some greater detail. But the first big leaguer we had is a guy named Grayson Rodriguez, and he's with the Orioles now, big starter, kind of I'm a scout, so I'm going to give you comparisons, right? He's a Matt Morris type, physical, big arm, 98 breaking ball. He didn't make his area code team. And the next year he was the 11th pick in the draft. Now he played in the area code games. He played with the Nationals, but he didn't make the Texas team. Came to us, a little bit of a slow body, 91, 92, could go get a 4, physical, 6'5", still thought he could hit. Great kid. Just one of the kids. He's like asking questions, and the eyes are wide. He's taking everything in. He's processing them, and he ran with it. And he was in the same event as Bo, but he was the first one, and I'm so proud of Grayson to be able to persevere and work through. Now, look, the 11th pick in the country, you're not fighting a ton of stuff, right? But you're still fighting. You're still fighting everybody gunning for you because you were the 11th pick in the country. So he has to get through all these different steps: the work ethic, the family, what he did to turn himself into that pick. Is a huge testament to his ability. I'm grateful that we were able to have some kind of relationship. We still do. I talk to the guys. I get personally invested in them, in their careers and their pathway. I'm always a resource. I prefer to check in on them when they're not doing well and to see how they're feeling, as opposed to checking into them when they are. Everybody else is trying to do that, and they don't need me around when they're hitting 350 with 26 jacks and 90 pumps or 90 stakes. They don't need that. Okay. What they need me is when they're hitting 212 and it's been a bad month, and hey man, what's up? How you feeling? Back okay? That's when I let guys go play and be themselves. I hate it when people are on top of me. I'm sure you felt the same way. You got to have some space. And so I want to be the resource for them when they need it, because it's not about me. It's about them. So Grayson and I, we communicate. He hurt his back last year. I sent him a text with just the eyes emoji, and he's like, yeah, my back ain't great. I'm going down. I got to get it's one of those. And then he gets called up, and mom tells me, and she says, you can't tell anybody he's coming to the big leagues, and so those type of things are pretty good. And Grayson's great with the Naylors, and I say Naylors plural. Um, that relationship started back in 2000. Well, I was scouting, so 2013. And Josh went 12, I believe, in the country to the Marlins, 11 or 12. So, a guy named Sean Travers ran the Ontario Blue Jays program for a long time, and now he runs Mississauga Tigers. In Canada, it's almost all travel baseball. It's all academy, all travel baseball. And Sean turned out tons of big leaguers, OBJs, as they were known, turned out a ton of players. And, Josh went 11 in the country. So Sean and I developed a relationship over time. I was connected to the Baseball Canada scene, the players that were in there. We ended up drafting somebody in Seattle. Got to know them pretty well through being part of the community in Toronto a little bit, just as that part of my life. And Josh and I developed a relationship. And so, Josh, I show up to the ballpark with Josh, and he's with Team Canada there in the Dominican. And I get on the first baseline to see him, and I got to see Mike Soroka's on that team, and some other guys. Just those two have had the best careers. Some other guys on the club, and it was 2015. So I mean 2015, and I go in there, and I'm looking at Josh, and Josh is stretching, and he kind of leans over, looks over at me, and I'm just standing there, and he gives me like the head nod, you know. And I give him the head nod back, you know. I'm like, "You all right?" He goes, "Yeah, I'm good." And Josh is such an engaging person. He's so great with what he does. So, he's certifiable. Don't kid yourself. He's certifiable, bro. I mean, Josh, I don't even want to know what he's thinking. That man is a bad man. He's just rocking the baby and talking about, he's slapping air fives, to fans, all kinds of stuff. But Josh has so much fun doing it. And then there's Noah, and I saw Noah play through Sean, and Sean goes, "Look, you got to see this guy. He's Team Canada, he's Team Canada famous, and they don't think he can catch, and they're not sure he can hit." And I'm like, and Sean goes, "I think he might be the best player I've ever seen." So Travers, he's telling me that. Now, obviously, this is, at the amateur level, right? Best I've ever had, ever seen. So I go in and I see Noah. Man, I wish I could tell you this was some kind of great scouting job I did. This wasn't hard. This one wasn't easy. And he's swinging the bat, and it's like, it's easy. Swings he's taking right now, that's him. Like the ones that line drive the other way, staying in the zone, hitting the ball out to left center field over the wall. I mean, to me, that's Noah Naylor. It's not the guy that's over swinging it and yanking a little bit. And I did get on him on Twitter about it. I did get on him. I said, "Stop trying to yank the ball. Just go back to hitting." Sure enough, bang, 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 bang. This is a kid who they said couldn't catch. He said he couldn't catch. Now, in Canada, Percy, most of the arms are getting 84, 85. That's what they got. 84, 85, 82, 86. They don't have a lot of now's a little bit different, but even 5, 8 years ago, they didn't have all the fire that we have down here in the States. We have guys everywhere throwing hard, right? And that's what that was. So he just wasn't used to catching it. That's all. He wasn't used to catching it. He wasn't used to the speed of the game. He just needed to do it. But the hands were there. The feet were there. He's probably a 70 athlete on a 20/80 scale for me. He made a play the other night. You may have seen the pitch out or the ball that was missed. He went for a pitch out and the ball's over
Ridiculous.
the plate. That's a 70 athlete type of play, right? He ran a 6'4" in front of me on my watch. He ran a 6'4". It played that way, and it's such an easy approach. And I was like, "Bro, you're the best player in the world." And I had seen enough of it at that point in time to be able to say, this is the best age-appropriate player on the planet. And I told him, and I sat him down, and I said, "Hey, man, look, I don't have this conversation with, really anybody, because your brother was a first rounder and went like a 12, but you can go ahead of him. You go ahead of him." And he should have. So, flash forward the next year, this is where I had a lot of fun. Noah shows up, does his thing. He's Noah. He's gone. Okay, cool. Next year, we're in the draft. I'm doing TV, right? So I got to do some draft analysis on the Astros, and the Astros is a whole nother topic we don't have time for today, bro. But, so I'm doing some draft stuff on the Astros, and I'm like, there's no way Noah's going to get to where the Astros pick. There's just no chance. Sure enough, there were opportunities ahead of them for somebody else to take him, and they just kept passing. And I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. What is the deal? And now they don't know where he's going to play, and they don't want to pay him. So sure enough, the Astros pick is coming up, right? And I'm just going in the studio. I'm looking at Jason. I'm going, they're not going to take him. He's going to get there. They're not going to take him. They should, but they're not going to. Sure enough, bro, they drafted Seth Beer. And I was like, what just happened? What just happened? Seth Beer, by the way, is back in Double A. Okay? He's back in Double A right now, out of Clemson. And then 28th pick, the then Cleveland Indians select Noah Naylor. Now, the Indians have done a very good job of drafting and developing players. There's no way around that. Have they won something with it yet? Nah. But they've done a really good job of drafting and developing. And Scott Barnesby, who is their scouting director, might be VP of scouting now, depending on the title, but he's on our advisory board. And so Scott and I go back. The Indians, actually, our Guardians, actually have quite a few players that have come through our system. If you're a guy in our stuff, they're all over you. And I give Barnes a hard time about it all the time. But Daniel Espino, future stars. Petey Halpin, future stars, right? So you still go down the list. They got some dudes in there, and Paul Gillespie and Ginny Melendez and the scouting staff over there.
Love
Brad
those
Graham.
dudes.
Those are my guys. I mean, they all do a good job. So They take Noah, and the rest is history, bruh. I mean, that's it. The rest is history, and he just turns into Noah. He's an 80 makeup kid. He's uh he's somebody that it deserves everything he's going to get. He was overlooked out of high school. He's going to change your clubhouse. I cannot say enough positive things about Bo Naylor. Like we'll be here till like a month from now, just talking about how great this kid is. One of my favorite topics in the world. Um, it's gratifying to have been a small part. I think if there's anything I did for Noah, it was he trusted me to center him a little bit. He trusted the feedback I gave him. Not he needed to hear, just the feedback approach in here. The ability is the ability. His parents and his brother. That is what it is. That's God given. That's got nothing to do with us and the Sean Travers and the OBJs. They did a great job helping him. And I just showed up for him, I think, at the right time for him mentally to be able to process things and understand it, and to be able to encourage him to stay behind the plate because I know they were doubting it, and I never saw any other position for him to play. I didn't get it. I was like, this is a Gold Glover. I don't know what you guys are looking at. This is a Gold Glover. So, as you can tell from our 10, 15 minutes together, I'm not exactly shy with my words. I'll say exactly what's on my mind, and so the Twitter world has to wear it for the rest of their lives. I said Noah's going to catch. I said he was going to hit. I would have taken him, up the top of the board, but he went where he went, and Cleveland's a good place for him.
Yeah, I mean, I got to experience obviously playing with the Guardians. Coming from the Phillies, wasn't a good marriage with the Phillies, but just clicked with the people. Rigo, who's now the bullpen coach, was my pitching coach for a couple years, and I worked with Ken Knudsen down there. So
Yep.
I agree with you. They can develop talent, and I think obviously they've done a good job. Because some organizations can, I know his talent is undeniable, but there's plenty of talented people that maybe should have been able to, maybe didn't have Bo's mental makeup, but an organization can sometimes mess with people. Not making an excuse for myself, but
Oh, you being gentle, bro. There's organizations that'll just end your career. You know it. I mean, they get out there, and I can say it. You don't have to. I'll do it. That's
yeah, I'll
what I
let
get
you do
paid
it.
for. Literally, I'll do it. There's organizations out there that just end your career. It's like, oh, hey, I need some help, and that's what it is. Hey, what am I doing about here? I don't know, man. Go watch video. Right? And they don't do anything. You got to figure it out. You got to help you. So the Guardians do a great job. They really do a great job of evaluating. Tristan McKenzie, another one, do a great job of
Yeah.
evaluating high students. And Tristan also somebody I've gotten to know. Great kid, a grown man now. To me, again, not to be the old guy in the room, still a kid, but I mean, it's um, they've done an exceptional job of identifying, selecting, um, asking the right questions, and then role building. Right? They role build through. They understood Josh's makeup. They understood Tristan's makeup. They're one of the and I'll say again, we can say this, but they're one of the more diverse organizations out there. Not just in how they think and approach things from the bottom level of minor leagues through scouting to the big leagues, but just the player makeup. If you look at it, it's a pretty good cross section, right? You've got a little bit of everybody. You got the Latin infusion, you got the domestic flair, you've got the pedigrees in these players. To me, even without winning the World Series, that's where the Guardians are a model. I don't agree with everything they've done when it comes to the scouting staff, and that's just I don't have a vote. I don't vote, but I don't agree with everything. But for the most part, they're a model when it comes to how they've approached player development evaluation. And if I have a high school kid, especially a high school kid, and he's got to develop and grow, and I got an organization to draft him, they're at the top of that list.